Hello, hello. Welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you today about why forgiveness changes relationships. But stop, don't go away. I don't want you to think of forgiveness the way that I used to, as something that let the other person win, as something that made what they did to me right, or as something that they didn't earn or that I don't owe them. That's not what forgiveness is. So stay here. I'm Beth Rowles. I'm a relationship coach for driven moms who really want their husbands to be the dad that they always dreamed of and to do some personal growth through the relationship. Use it as a feedback loop to create the relationship they want without leaving the one they're in. I'm so excited you're here. This is a big one. And this is one of those turning point moments in my marriage journey that completely saved my marriage. And it was freaky because I literally did the forgiveness thing and came home and was a different guy. And he had no idea that I'd done anything because energy is so powerful in our relationships. And the energy that you hold in your heart for the other person matters. You cannot get what you want until your energy is connected to them. You can't affect the relationship if you have a wall up. That just does not happen. If you have a subconscious intention that the relationship not work, then it will not work. So if you want it to work, you're in the right place. This is what I help women with. This is what I did in my own marriage. And it's like magic. It really is like magic. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I learned about forgiveness, like real forgiveness, from Gary Zukov in his book, The Seed of the Soul. Amazing book. Oprah loved it. You should read it all the time. It's a great book. But he says, let me give you a couple quotes from him. Forgiveness means that you do not hold others responsible for your experiences. Complaining, for example, is exactly that dynamic of wanting someone to be responsible for what you experience and to fix things for you. When most people forgive, they do not want those that they forgave to forget that they forgave and forgot. This kind of forgiveness manipulates the person who is forgiven. It is not forgiveness. It is a means of acquiring external power over another. And then the last quote, he says, you cannot know what another person will do. Therefore, when you depend upon another person for the experiences that you think are necessary to your well-being, you live continually in the fear that they will not deliver. The perception that someone else is responsible for what you experience underlies the idea that forgiveness is something that one person does for another. How can you forgive another person for the fact that you have chosen to step out of your power? Right? Good stuff there. And it's the truth. I want you to step into your power because that gives you the ability to create the life that you want. You don't want to live this awful life being miserable because everybody offended you or everybody hurt you or people did things that weren't really in your best interest. It's not the way it works. You want to take control today to live exactly the life that you want to live. And you want to learn from those past experiences. And also know that the people who hurt you were probably doing the best they could with the level of consciousness that they had. Okay, so this is a little bit confusing, so we'll stop here. So everybody evolves at their own rate. We're all on our own journey. Your parents, for example, were probably doing a little bit better version of what their parents did. And they were operating with the consciousness level that their parents gave them, plus any amount of growth that they had to that point. So we're talking, generations of evolution. And not that long ago, we were like burning people at the stake and I don't know, beheading people and eating other people and driving people out of their land. I mean, this was not that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that white people had slaves and thought that was okay, right? It's really not that long ago in the evolution of things. So we're all doing the best we can as we continue to grow. So if you think of the person that hurt you as having done the best they could, with what they had, with what their experiences had been up to that point, then you can kind of understand why it happened. And it does not make it right that it happened, but it allows you to understand that had you been in their shoes with their knowledge, their experiences, and their level of consciousness, you probably would have done the exact same thing that they did. There was some need there that they were trying to meet, or they didn't know better. Think about kids who do things to other people that may actually not be bad. They could just be kids exploring things. Um, they don't know. They don't know what they're doing. You didn't know what you were doing. You have done things in your life that you did not know better to not do. I think about my being a little girl and friendships, because I have a little girl and I watch her with friends. And one example is they like to scare each other and like sneak up and scare each other. And I remember doing that. And it's like a control thing, but it's a normal part of evolution. And I could think, God, I was such a little twat. I was like scaring all my friends. What was wrong with me? Or I can look at it as I was young and exploring and trying to find some power. And this is what it's like. I did not know better. Or you think about the time that you like dumped paint all over a favorite outfit and your mom was really pissed off. I did that. You didn't know better. You were exploring and having fun. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing that you did, but in her mind it was, because then all the money she just spent on the outfit was like wasted or whatever. So we want to think about people as having done the best they could. And we also want to think about our role in the situation, especially as we're thinking about our husbands. One of the things I was always really upset with my husband for was the fact that I didn't feel like he did enough. He didn't help me around the house. But up until the babies came, I did everything. I did all the things and didn't ask him to do anything. So he was doing what he knew. And that was the role I had played, was I'll do everything. You do this. I don't need your help. I got it. Like, I was happy to be busy with all the stuff in the house. It was only when I was so busy that I didn't have enough time that then I started to get angry and angry at him. And like, he really didn't do anything. He was reacting to my role in the relationship. So we create each other. Whatever we do up here, they will do down here to match so that we can create a whole. And so if my role is dysfunctional, then his role is going to be dysfunctional and we're going to create something that's not so great. So I want you to look at forgiveness as that you had a role in some cases, unless if you were an adult, you had a role for sure. If you were a kid, you didn't know better. And then the other person or the perpetrator is doing the best they can. If you think about people who commit heinous crimes, usually they were had those same kinds of atrocities committed against them. If you look at most stories of really nasty, evil people, they were treated horrifically. And so they are trying to feel some sense of power, unless they're like a psychopath, trying to regain some sense of power by doing the same thing. And it's really awful. And it's not to forgive them. It's not to say it's okay. But there's a reason why we get to where we are. There's a reason why I wake up and want to lovingly make breakfast for my kids, or why I want to stay in bed and feel bad for myself, right? Like we create these experiences in our life. So forgiveness doesn't mean that what happened to you is okay. Forgiveness means that you're no longer willing to be wounded by what happened. So you can't forgive until you feel the wound and either understand their level of consciousness that made them do what they did, especially in the case of our parents. You see in their actions a desire to make right the harm they caused. So sometimes, they may need to make something right. And I think we ignore that desire to make something right because we're so hurt. But if you really see a genuine desire to make right, pay attention to it. They want to make it right. They feel bad. Um, and then, of course, see where you may have played a role if you were an adult when it happened. The energy you carry because of being unwilling to forgive is blocking your ability to love and to be loved fully, because you have to carry the illusion of separateness to maintain the unwillingness to forgive another. You have to believe that you are also unworthy of being forgiven. This goes against our true nature and creates a karmic debt that's not in your favor. So, this is how it works. You don't have to say to the person, I forgive you, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. What I did and what you can do is maybe close your eyes if you want, or you don't have to, but call to mind the person and what they did. Try to look at it with empathy that being in their shoes, you probably would have done the exact same thing too. And forgive them. Say, I know you were doing the best that you could. Or I see what my role was in this. Or I know that neither of us didn't know any better than what we did. And then let it go. I forgive you for doing this. I see what I learned from it. I see maybe even the gifts that it gave me to have better boundaries, to speak up for myself, to not do this to my own children. You can look for those lessons, look for those gifts, and then let it go. Imagine yourself letting it go. Imagine yourself hugging them, even if they're no longer around, and forgiving them for that action. Forgiving yourself for something you've done. Energetically releasing them from the burden of not being forgivable releases you from so much, allows you to move forward. And I did this one day with Dave, and he just energetically, he wasn't there, he was at work, and he came home and he was like a completely different person after being like just what I thought was like really awful for a really long time. I was like, where's the happy guy that I dated, married so long ago? And he came home, that happy guy. And I was a happier person. My heart was open to him and I wanted to connect. And it's really a beautiful thing when you're there, because then you create the relationship you want. And it's possible with the person you're with. Especially if you really, really love them a long time ago and stuff has been in the way. Let it go and love them. And I encourage you to do this right now. Just turn this off and sit down and think of people you haven't forgiven or have holding grudges for so long, and just energetically forgive them, because you give back the energy that you need to be happy when you do that. All right. Sorry, this one went a little long. I thank you for watching. Go to my website, bethrowles.com or happilyeveraftercoach.com. Book a call. I want to talk to you. I want to hear about how this is working for you, how your relationship is going. It's totally free to chat with me, and we can see if coaching and my program is right for you. I take you through the quantum love journey, which is what I created based on my own work, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from you. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, okay? Bye.